Hey, we're live.
Hey, apparently we are live. Around the bend with Sean and Bart. How are you?
I'm
Sean.
Do you know what I've always picked up on now since we've been doing this? You
What?
always do this.
Yeah, that's right. I'm saying hello, but my webcam screen is so ridiculously
Hello,
small.
smell my pits.
Yeah, it's back from a radio. To be honest with you, it's back from the radio when I used to do the radio years ago. Because nobody, but I mean, it's all webcams and radio stations now. But back when I did it, in my sort of late teens, early 20s, nobody could see you. So we used to do like really serious shows, but always do stuff with our hands and stuff, really taking the mick, you know. And it sort of caught on. Puts me in the zone. Anyway, mate, Rockingham. What an amazingly interesting meeting that was.
It was, yes. Especially for the championship as well. Effectively now, you could see there's 5 people in the hunt now. We did have 6, but I think Tordoff, he's had it. Bye, Tordoff.
Andy Jordan's already written his chances off, and I think he's done that one meeting too early, to be honest.
He's still in the hunt to win the championship. He just needs to be ahead of Plato in the Hondas, and it's got to be consistent now because there's 6 races to go. He's got to finish them pretty much in all of them.
I made a prediction in the last show, right? And that prediction is if Shedden gets a sniff of it, you just watch Honda mysteriously do a lot of work on that car. The Honda is about to go very quick in the last 3 races.
Yeah.
There's only one person that can spoil his party, honestly, and that's if Plato or Matt Jackson go to there hooped up. I think Matt Jackson, yeah, but Matt Jackson's not in the championship.
Yeah.
You know, if those guys are still battling for 2nd and 3rd, he's still going to, you know, if Matt Jackson's a country mile in front at Silverstone and Plato and Shedden are still battling, it is only really down to those 2 who do it, because Matt Jackson's not really he's just taking championship points away from 2nd and 3rd. He's not like damaging, you know what I mean? I mean, Motorbase really need a couple of race wins and get some trophies to get some more sponsors on the car. And I really think Matt Jackson could be a contender next year if that car's exactly the same as it is now. There's a lot of people scratching heads in the paddock going, how the hell has that come so quick?
Yeah. I was just going to talk about that as well because, Matt actually did have a very good Rockingham as well as Flash. But I think Jackson was in particular because it was his 3rd race weekend with the new Ford, isn't it? Ford?
Yeah. They're finally getting it together as well. They've got the car seems to carry the weight really well.
Yeah, indeed. And it's still rapid down the straightaway.
Yeah, really powerful as well, actually. There was, I forget, there was one of the stats basically saying they were like nearly 9 miles an hour quicker than everything else on the grid for one of the races, Rockingham. On the speed trap. I don't know whether that's true or not. I wasn't really paying attention to speed trap data.
I know the Ford is that quick, but I don't think it's that quick.
I think it was around there. I think it was around there. I might be corrected, you know, and whatever. But I'm sure I remember somebody saying that. It might have been a Paul O'Neill quote that, but I'm not. Don't quote me that it was Paul O'Neill that said it, but it was one of the commentary team. I'm sure.
No, I mean, if the car was 9 miles an hour quicker down the straightaway, you have all the teams complaining about that.
Yeah, but you know,
drive cars.
Yeah, I just, you know, you don't know how much he's not putting his foot down in that thing.
I know for a fact that the front-wheel drive cars on a straightaway are about at least 4 or 5 miles an hour quicker than the rear-wheel drive cars. That's all I know.
Well, like I say, I mean, we've got some other facts about that. I was quite shocked in the coverage about the accident with Aidan Moffat. That could have been a really nasty accident, and I know it was down to a puncher from the other driver that caught him. I forget who it was.
Oh yeah, Hunter Abbott. Yes.
Yeah, and all I'm saying is I'm glad both drivers got out okay. And it really worried me for a bit because ITV4 didn't let anybody know at all that both drivers were okay. and it was pretty nasty. That accident was. It's not the sort of accident you want to see in a touring car race.
No. Getting to talk about Aidan Moffat. Since he had this concussion, he's more of been of a different driver, and I think he's a lot more better. You know, he got the podium, and he did qualifying at Rockingham, did his career best ever qualifying of 8th. Okay, he was a bit unlucky in Rockingham in the first race, went to the gravel trap, but the second race, when he started at the back, he showed signs that he was going to be a proper touring car star, because he started, 28th and finished 13th? Which, I mean, he's got the credentials to be a very, very good touring car driver.
I still think you'll see the best of him in 2 seasons' time. It's coming. And in 2 seasons' time, I think the new guard will be running all at the front. I don't think the ones that are running at the front now will be there.
I would say a lot more quicker for Aidan Moffat, to be honest with you. The way that he raced at Rockingham, he was on it. He was on it. Okay, he didn't have the best of luck with the race one, went into the gravel trap because he basically outbroke himself behind his own teammate. And then went into the gravel trap and then, had that great race too. And then the big accident in the third race. Rockingham's
a really weird surface as well. It's not the typical tarmac you get at all the other circuits in the UK. It's a very, very strange blend of tarmac. And I think as a new driver coming to there, unless you've raced there lots before, I mean, I don't know how many times Aidan's been around that, but it's, it could catch you out. There's a lot of people locking up in the hairpin. Which
brake bias though, would it not? They set their brake bias a bit, I don't know, too.
Yeah, I just think it's a compound of the tire. I think it's a compound of the tires and that surface. I don't think you get the same amount of lockups at Silverstone. I don't think so. Oh, by the way, as well, and I completely meant to write it down when I was on Facebook and name check the person who did it. But have you seen the circuit design that one of the fan group has drawn for the new layout at Silverstone?
No.
So one of the fan group members, and I really do apologise that I have not remembered your name, has drawn a little squiggly line of where the circuit should go, and it's absolutely an awesome layout. They've added about 6 corners to Silverstone's touring car layout, and all I can say to Alan Gowers, log on, check it out, and do that before the next round, because that is awesome. It's absolutely awesome. So they've actually got them, instead of going through Maggots and Beckett's and turning right and going down the straight, they've actually got them going off down an exit road that's currently there, but it's still racetrack. And then hooking up back down one of the backs and into the part by the Silverstone wing, and then all back up through all the twisty stuff before going back onto the same straight again. And it adds about 6 corners to the layout. It's actually on the fan group if you have a look at it. And it's an awesome layout.
I didn't even notice it.
Awesome layout. Whoever, I forget the name of the person who suggested it, but seriously, you are a genius. And you really, BTCC need to take notice of that. It was an awesome move.
But don't they start at where Cops Corner is? They don't start on the Grand Prix circuit, don't they? They start on where the Cops.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is, you go out to the Cops Corner. You go into Maggots and Beckett's, and what normally happens is you do the first part of Maggots, and then you turn right and drop onto the straight.
On the straightaway.
And go straight down to Luffield. Yeah. What this person's done is connected an exit slip road that's part of the old circuit, which would be about 100 odd metres. And what it does is it stops you going down the big main straightaway after Maggots and Beckett's and into Stowe and Vale and all that bit. It actually takes you across the part of the training circuit, I think. But then it sort of puts you on a loop where you come back round in front of the Silverstone wing and back up that way, and it goes through a load of twisty stuff. And it adds about 6 corners to Silverstone, mate. And it would encourage so much overtaking. It would make it an absolute awesome round. Really would.
You'd lost me there.
You have to have a look on the drawing, mate. It makes sense on the drawing. It's something I saw a couple of days ago, which is why it's a bit hazy in my memory with work and everything. But like, honestly, yeah, Yeah, you need to go check it out.
Oh, I'd have to look at it. You'd have to probably link me it, actually, because
yeah. Well, I will pull a link up. We'll sort it out. But yeah, just check it out. It's a really interesting concept for Silverstone in the future. I think the biggest loser out of the title race at the moment was Plato. He can't be happy with getting absolutely tapped and the suspension being smashed, because as great a team as BMR are, I don't think that car was ever going to handle right for the other two races afterwards. I think Jason drove with an immense problem in that car.
Well, I wouldn't know of it like being an immense problem with the whole weekend, because he did get a race win. But you know, they have like the end of the race, they'll have like a couple of hours sessions to look at the cars, see what they could do. They might have repaired it perfectly, and
I just think with Plato sometimes that Passat's very strong, right?
Not
that
car.
So again,
not on the wheels.
Not on the wheels. But as in, like, as a whole package, it's one of the strongest cars on the grid. However, there is a part of that car where, you know, they're not. I mean, you look at the drivers that are in BMR with Warren Scott and, you know, Aaron Smith and Colin Turkington. They're all battlers, and yet they don't seem to be able, when they have a problem, they don't seem to be able to drag it back to the front like Plato does. And that's just my own personal observation. I mean, you most probably think differently, but it just seems to be that when there's a problem, Plato gets the better results out of it.
When you see that, what you said just then about when Plato drag it out, I can remember going back to the first meeting at Brands Hatch.
Right.
When, what was it, Plato had that tyre problem in the second race when he was comfortably leading, started that third race from dead last.
Yeah.
He struggled to work his way up. Didn't he finish like 13, 14 for that? But he wasn't catching up to the car in front.
No. But that was the first race of the season in the car that they were still learning about, I think. Whereas now they are dialed into that car. If that car's going to deliver a championship win, there's no additional add-ons or development going into that car. Whereas I feel now, especially now getting into the last 3 rounds with Shedden actually at the top of the table now.
Yeah.
Albeit by a few points, I think Honda will go, actually, he's got a really good chance of doing an immense marketing job for Honda here. Let's throw a load of new bits at that car that we know is going to make it go quicker. And not necessarily engine performance. I'm just talking about like aero or brakes or, I mean, a Honda. The last round, it just from the race before, the meeting before, it just seems to be even better on the brakes, and I didn't think that was possible.
Yeah. What did you think about this qualifying tactics that Shedden did? If you'd noticed it.
In what way?
Well, usually when they do qualifying, it would be the cars going out in order. So you had like the VWs going out first. So you had Plato, then Turkington, then Smith, and then Scott, and then it's the Hondas. What Shedden did was actually overtook 2 of the VWs and then went out the pits.
Right. Could be a little bit of psychological warfare going on.
But here's the thing, though, right? And I want to hear your opinion on this, because like this is the first time we spoke to each other since the last time we did this. He said to the stewards that it was. Hang on, let me put it up because I can't mind the word that he said. It was a procedural error rather than a driver error.
As in the team sent him out first and told him to go?
Well, I don't know, because he's the one that's driving the car, not the team.
No, but what I'm saying to you is if you go out and pull out of your garage and turn right and start going down the pit lane, or turn left at Rockingham and start going down the pit lane, I should say, you basically then, you know, you are where you are in that pit lane. If then, as you naturally are going along, BMR pull out behind you, that's just procedural, isn't it? You can't really moan about, you know.
No, but I think what it is it's the VWs first, then the Hondas, and then it doesn't matter if you're like, say, Kieran Gallagher, and you're going to be the first car reversed. You still got to be in that line.
Yeah, I can understand him if it's procedural and he's doing something on the steering wheel, but then surely first warm-up lap out, you'd hand the 2 places back to BMR. You'd be on the radio. You'd be on the radio to you or Alan Gow, and then you'd be pulling over and just letting the 2 scoot past you and slotting behind.
See, this was a bit of a controversial thing as well, because if it was a driver error, if actually Shedden was honest enough to say it was a driver error, that would have been his 3rd strike. So therefore, he would have started at the back of the field instead of having a 4-place grid penalty.
Yeah. I think with the championship being so closely poised at this point, you don't want anything like that. I mean, it'd be a great talking point for the commentary people, but it's not how championships are won. I don't think Plato or any of the drivers would want to win a championship knowing that it's just down to his 3rd strike and whatever, you know.
Here's a question for you. If Shedden did start at the back of the field, would he have copied the same as what Plato did? Let the field go, get some clean air, and put in some fast laps to try and start up front for race 2?
Yes. In a heartbeat, yes.
Definitely.
If you were on the grid, would you? Because I would. I wouldn't even think about it.
If you were fighting for the championship, it's a no-brainer. If you're not, go for it, you know. But if you're fighting for the championship, you know.
If I was one of the car park attendants, I'd still go for it. You've got the opportunity to sit at the back of the grid, let the touring cars go, and just have a free empty track to yourself in a touring car. Hell yeah.
Oh, blimey. But what confused me was why did the stewards give him a 4 grid place penalty?
Is that in the rules? Is that in the rules from the MSA though?
I don't know if it is, because for what I've seen, because he started 7th, he was going to start 3rd, but you had Neil starting 5th, championship contender, Plato starting 6th, championship contender, Shedden was going to start 7th. Well, Shedden started 7th. The other 3 championship contenders, you had Tordoff, I think it was in 11th, Andy Jordan 10th, and Turkington was in 9th. So do you think, how can I explain this without trying to cause a bit of trouble?
Sean, causing trouble? Never. Never. Just ask Toby Moody.
How can I say this word perfect? Do you think that the stewards were being too light on Shedden because of this procedural error?
I don't know. Just bear with me 2 seconds, because I haven't got a clue what's going on there. Sorry, it's all right. My phone's my video's breaking up here because my phone's decided to try and log in to broadcast it as well. Sorry. Sometimes with this, I think there is a little bit of, actually, we've got leeway in the rules here, and this will make a really exciting championship if we do this.
But now, here's another example. What if we'll pick another driver out, like Dave Newsham, right? He'll do exactly the same thing as what Shedden did at Rockingham. But will Newsham get a 4 grid place penalty, or will he go at the back of the field?
Well, surely they've got to apply the same rule. You think once they've set a precedent in a season, that's what they've got to do?
Yeah. I think this is a what's on your Plato here for me. Is I think the stewards have got to be more consistent.
Right.
I'd say. When I looked back at the Prio Moffat incident in Knockhill,
Right.
and they claimed that Prio passed Moffat under a yellow flag, and I looked at it, and there was like stewards' posts where the corner was where Collard's car was, and there was the opposite side, but I did not see a yellow flag.
Doesn't necessarily mean that they didn't get one. Because surely they have some in-car system as well now where it flashes them in the car, doesn't it, as well?
Well, they had the onboard camera. They had the onboard camera of Prio when he hit Moffat, and there was nothing flashing yellow. I had the live timing on when they did the final race, and I didn't see a yellow sector in a yellow flag sector in Sector 1, because they usually do when they show the live timing.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think. Going back,
and I mean, as well, when the contact happened, that was the same type of contact that happened with Matt Neal and Andy Jordan back at Donington, and Matt Neal got away with that and get the win.
Right.
Whereas Prio got penalised for it.
You see, I think it's all just down to who the driver steward is on the day.
Is it a different driver steward, or was it just the same one that goes to each venue?
Again, the driver stewards are governed by the MSA, and the MSA's chairman is Alan Gow.
Yeah.
So if the chairman of the MSA says racing incident, that let it go. I'm not saying he did. I'm just saying that's why you're most probably getting something like that. That, you know, they most probably got a panel of people. They make a decision. They have to make a split-second decision. They perhaps don't have all the information, you know, at their disposal. They're going off like the TV footage and the in-car footage rather than like Silverstone, for example. I mean, Silverstone, with it being an F1 circuit, every single corner's got multiple cameras on it. Mm-hmm. There is a bank of screens about 40 or 50 strong at Silverstone. So yeah. I could see the decisions being more clinical and fair at Silverstone than any other circuit in the UK, purely because a Rockingham, for example, perhaps doesn't have that system with it not having the F1 or the World Superbikes going through there. Donington Park is another one that may have a load of screens just because of the MotoGP and stuff. So, you know, in the past and whatever. So it's I think it's down to circuit parts. I mean, like track limits is another one. You know, if you're at an MSV circuit, they've got pressure pads in all the curbs and they know if you've gone over. Knockhill, did you see much going in the way of circuit limits, track limits?
Well, I showed you the pictures of a lot of corner cutting.
Yeah, but, you know, then we got into that discussion, if you remember, of are you actually corner cutting if you're actually in the air? Which, from a driver's perspective, I can kind of see that.
Yeah.
You know, when I've done bits, and my motorsport stuff's very, very limited on the driver front. But when I've done bits and I've been lucky enough to do some testing in the past. I mean, a fair few years ago now, but when I did, you look for the shortest route when you're driving. You just look for the shortest route, and so you know, and I think a driver that's gearing themselves up to win the British Touring Car title is going to take every advantage you can possibly get.
Can I go back to? Sorry.
I think what you're saying is right. They should be more consistent with the penalties than they haven't been this year.
Going back to the Shedden thing, because you know when Shedden was asked by the stewards about the qualifying thing, if they said it was a procedure error rather than a driver error, do you think the stewards could be more lenient and say, right, look, Gordon, we'll take matters in our hands. We think that you did this on purpose. Instead of hearing it from the driver saying, right, okay, we'll give you a 4 minute penalty.
You don't know as well that somebody on the radio chatter hasn't gone to the Honda's team boss and gone, right, okay, release the cars now, be them all out. And
but would they still need to hear the radio contact, though?
Well, you know, if he's released it out, and what I'm saying is the MSA aren't going to publicly broadcast that they've been daft on air.
Oh, no. I mean,
if the MSA have made an error, then, you can't really blame Shedden for that. I honestly think, right, that's to win the championship, you also need a big element of luck. And sometimes the results go and the results and their things go for you, and sometimes they don't. I mean, go back a season. The amount of times, Stuart, I forget which, I think it was Donington, when Menu went off the track and he slid across, and he should have just been in the biggest touring car accident ever.
Yeah, that was Donington, yes.
And just because of where the cars were, he harmlessly slid through a pile of 30 cars and softly onto the grass verge the other side, and nothing happened.
I mean, it's the same as well with Josh Cook and Aaron Smith, when one of the cars went off in the fast part and then came back onto the track in front of a gang full of cars.
Yeah, and, you know, and what I'm saying is, it goes to sometimes the same way with the stewards. It could have been that the steward that makes the decision sneezed and missed it for that split second and just went, yeah, but I missed that. Oh, you know, all right, click. Well, it's 4 places there.
So when you say that, do you think there should be a drive, like in the stewards, it should be a neutral instead of like favoriting a team?
No, I think what they should do is actually have it like, and I hate making things like F1 because touring cars isn't. There's definitely a different set of tactics and a different game. But I think it should just be an open pit lane. In qualifying, there should be no you go out first because you're the championship leader. It should be, you know, the qualifying's now live. If you're running at the back of the grid, if you're in that Proton and you want to get your sponsors some airtime, you get to the end of that pit lane first.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think sometimes, I don't particularly think that it's fair that BMR have got 4 cars in there that are all eligible for points. Because the Constructors' Championship this year really is a bit of a joke if you've got 4 drivers scoring.
Yeah, yeah.
But I do like BMR. You know,
Isn't it not the top 2 though that gets the points in the Constructors?
Again, most probably is. But what I'm saying to you is, if you've got 4 cars on the grid, you've got twice as much chance of getting the top 2, haven't you?
Yeah.
If one of your cars goes bang, you've still got another 2 cars to claim that second place. Whereas if Honda, one of theirs goes bang, they've got a gap.
Yeah.
And it's just, you know, it's. I'm not saying what Warren Scott's done's wrong or anything else like that. It's just, you know, believe me, I've done a lot of watching the BTCC over the last sort of 15, 20 years, and it's like, to be honest with you, I'm a fan of the BTCC. You know, to see somebody from the back and come through and win and whatever, I'm just as interested as we most probably all are in who comes 14th as who comes first.
Yeah. Yeah, you know,
definitely. Sometimes the decisions could be better, and I think they could use a lot more data off the cars in real time and make that available to the public to then make sure the rules are consistent.
Yeah.
It's very rare there's a bad decision in the BTCC, but when there is, it stands out like a sore thumb.
Yeah, it definitely does. Yeah, definitely. Mike, can we talk about the races?
Yeah, go on.
Right then. So, Matt Jackson, first legitimate pole since 2009. And I'm not talking about like the race 3 reverse draw grids. This was a legitimate first pole position. But it just seems so surprising that it was the Motorbasis team's first ever pole.
Crazy! I didn't know that one.
Never did that. You know, I've looked on Wikipedia to see how long the Motorbase team has been at the BTCC. It's 2006.
Right. Okay.
And the drivers that they had as well throughout the years, they had Rob Collard, they had what's his name, Sutton Kane. Not Johnny Kane. It's the other one. Oh, is it? No, it's not Johnny Kane. No, but I mean, who else have they had? They've had Paul O'Neill. I think they've had Tom Onslow Cole for a bit as well.
Yeah.
So they've had some decent drivers in there, but it's just astonishing that it's their very first pole position.
I think that team is, I mean, they're doing really well. I watch a lot of motorsport anyway, but I mean, like GT racing, they do really well in the GT sort of thing. So, you know, to find them at the front's not a shock. I just expected it to happen more sooner and be more consistently. Really, they should be where Dynamics are and Honda. They really should.
Yeah. And also, he went on to win the race. But I think you touched upon this earlier. If the team would have been there at the start of the season, do you think they would have been up to be fighting for the championship?
Yes.
Yeah.
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 And to be fair, and I think he would have ended up in the position where Andy Jordan is right now, and it would have shuffled all the places down one.
Yeah.
I think Andy Jordan would have been on a par with him. There'd have been a couple of points in it by the end of the season. Andy Jordan's going to have to really seriously rethink where they go with that MG going forward, because there seems to have been a lot of development on that car, and then it just seems to have stopped. Not that the team aren't trying, it's just that the car seems to have not got any quicker, which is unusual for anything that Andy Jordan's in.
It's been average to me, the MG.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, as a quality driver as Andy Jordan is, well, we know he is a quality driver because he's won a championship before. You just expect to see him, you know, fighting up there. But I mean, he's fighting for like 4th, 5th positions when really you want to see him battling for the win or second, at least the podium, at least.
It's. I think they're going through a culture change in the BTCC. I think the old guard of drivers are having their swan song, really. I think the other teams are catching them up, and the other drivers are catching them up, and there isn't so much an A and B side of the grid anymore with British touring cars. The lineup's really strong. I mean, a few years ago it was like 7 champions and all this bit. You know, there isn't a lot of there isn't. You know, out of all the cars that are on there, there's only 5 or 6 that have won championships. However, ones that could win the championship going forward, there's a lot.
Yeah.
There really is a lot. You know, if you take any of the drivers off the grid and stick them in one of the top 2 teams, you wouldn't say, if they did a driver lineup for the 2016 season and anybody in that BTCC grid was put in a BMR, or put into a Honda, or put into, you know, the MG, or to WSR, you'd expect them to be running at the front. It isn't that the drivers are bad. It's the level of investment and what they can stick into the cars.
It'd be also down to driver aggression too.
I don't know. I think there's a different mindset coming forward now. Is it me, or has the BTCC been very clean this year? There's been no real dirty moves by anybody. There's been no real people standing in the pit lane and threatening each other or anything like that. Or, you know, there's been no real major accidents where it's been, you know, I'm going to tap them off. You know, there was a little bit of a one which I wasn't too happy about, where I don't know whether Plato outbraked himself, but when he sort of lent on Moffat a bit as well in one of the races, and I was just a bit, oh, that's a bit cheeky. I mean, it was a good workout, and they were sort of like having a laugh and a joke about it afterwards. Sorry, Tom Ingram, sorry. And it was like, you know what I mean? He was like, they were really happy about it afterwards because he'd done the KX Academy thing. But there was a couple of times where Plato, he was playfully shoving him. And then I honestly do genuinely believe it wasn't done with malice. I think Jace sort of rolled up behind him. I think Jason Plato rolled up behind him and went, right, let's see how you've improved then. What happens if I do this? Bang.
It was just a case of just trying to pressure Tom Ingram and see if he could hold the pressure. I mean, he did lose the lead, but he did gain it back within a few corners later. Yeah. And that was like great determination from Tom to say, you know, I'm here for real. You know, I'm a BTCC driver. You're going to have to work hard to overtake me. And he showed signs of that to Tom. Fair play to him.
I think the cars now going forward as we go, you know, there's going to be a lot more stability going forward. Now they've announced deals, different deals happening, and it's sort of now people know the regs are locked in with engines and suppliers and things like that. It actually means they can develop the car without thinking like, oh my, you know, we're going to have to put a different power plant in this, or, you know, we're going to have to change cars. I think the only real person who's got a pre-season advantage for next year is Rob Austin.
Yeah.
Because Rob now can look up and down the grid and go, actually, that's a really good car. But there's big rumours going around he's going to bring a Lexus into it, isn't it?
I did see that. Now, I would be quite happy to see Lexus in there, because I'm not going to lie, I actually did like their last Lexus since they last raced in. It was the green one. I'm thinking, was it maybe 2005, 2006? But I was thinking more of the 2001 version, where they had Kurt Luby in it.
Mm. Yeah.
And Tommy Iridos, and I like that. That was a nice. I think I think that was the same Lexus actually, from a few years afterwards. It was a really nice car.
Yeah, it was nice to see the Super Tourings out. There was a fair few memories there.
Sent shivers down my spine.
I actually, once I saw that Labatt's Beamer again, I was so happy I cried. A joy that could only be surpassed by Tim Harvey himself going, "Go on, Bart, have a go." That would be the only thing that could top that. My wife actually said something to me which was quite funny, which I'll share. She said, option A is Keira Knightley dipped in honey, or option B is that BMW. And I went, the BMW. I didn't even hesitate. I was just like,
see that question to me, please.
She was like, she offered me, basically, if a dream could come true, I could either have Keira Knightley dipped in honey, which apparently, I don't even like Keira Knightley, so I don't know why that one came up. But either that or the BMW. I think she was trying to make a point that I could, you know, they could offer me, you know, a beautiful woman versus that BTCC car, and I hold that BTCC car in higher regard than anything else on the planet. And I'm just like, I think my wife was sort of implicating that I liked it more than my wife. And I answered that question very carefully.
Keira Knightley and honey, or Beamer?
Beamer.
Beamer.
We're not being sexist, we're being Beamerist. We want those cars back every round.
Yes.
Come on, you are Alan Gow.
Let them be in the Toka package, please.
Please. What I want to see is an end of season race where the current drivers on the grid get a fourth race in the last round in those cars.
You'd need more cars, though, mind.
There
was only about 16 that raced in the race that was on TV. I think there was about 20.
There's plenty of those Super Tourers out there. It's just people have got them in museums. People don't race them and they show them. And I'm not being funny. With the skill set they've got on that team there, you're telling me, you know, Dynamics don't have one of Matt Neal's old cars as a show car somewhere they could wheel out and just literally, you know, get it to our running spec.
I do mind Rob Hoff actually driving Matt Neal's old car around Donington. I think this was around about Christmas time.
Some do demo runs. They do demo runs in them.
Yeah, they do demo runs, yeah. Yeah.
I'd pay money. I'd definitely pay money to go see them. So from the meetings then, is there anything else with the races you want to discuss, mate? Because I'm conscious of time.
I was just going to say, just quickly about the Super Tourers race. You know, we saw John Cleland and Patrick Watts racing. Yeah,
they didn't seem to speak much in the post-race interview.
No, they didn't. No, they were just happily just having a chat. But you know, with the touring cars are the now, do you think Cleland and Watts would still handle the BTCC now?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'd like to make an even bolder call than that.
Go on, then.
I reckon Clalland could still win it.
Ooh.
I think if you stuck Clalland in a modern works team, it'd have to be a Vauxhall because he comes out.
It has to be a Vauxhall.
He comes out in a rash if he drives anything else. I'm not joking now. They'd have their hands full. Boys still, Patrick Watts, again, is a great driver, don't get me wrong. But I think with Patrick Watts, he knows he's had a British touring car career and he's quite happy to do the demo things and he's quite happy to race and he's a committed racer, but he's not championship hungry. I think if you put Tim Harvey or John Clalland or Andy Rouse back in a competitive car, I don't think you could tell any of those guys to drive slowly and just do it for the fans. I think they'd want to win.
More of the case though, if Clinton would be back in the BTCC, I wonder if we get to hear the man's an animal.
yeah. To be honest with you, we'd have to pay him to say that every week.
Right, that's that one. Talk about the second race. Gordon Shedden got a vital win to extend his championship lead. Plato finished 7th after starting 12th, I think it was.
Yeah.
Was it 12th? Because he had the 20 fastest time.
That was a good run from Jason, that was.
That was. But I think I would like to talk about a team that we've hardly talked about for a while, the Power Max team with Josh Cook.
Yes.
What a great weekend Josh Cook had.
Josh, he's one of those guys that I've got a feeling could be poached by a front-running team.
Possibly, yeah.
And
I could see that.
I honestly believe it would be such a shame if they allowed that to happen, because I think he will develop that car around him. It suits him. And in 18 months to 24 months, he will be running near the front. Certainly a lot higher than he is now. But yeah. I think he'll I don't want him to end up a team and be somebody's number 2.
Yeah. The team got their first podium with Josh Cook when he did that, fantastic pass on Adam Morgan at the chicane on the last lap. What was it? He just passed him around like outside, outbroke himself into the chicane and got that third place.
Yeah,
absolutely
just driving out.
Amazing move.
Yeah, driving
out. It was the same as that Ashley Sutton in the Renault Clio race at Donington, where he passed a couple of cars around the outside on the chicane to the start.
Yeah,
that move, it was just so good to look at.
Yeah, there's occasionally moments that you use at the highlights reel at the end, and like next season when they show you what happened the season before. That was definitely one of the shots that's going to be rinsed by ITV4's footage people for next season. There's no two ways about it. It was one of the overtakes this season for me.
I think Josh Cook is definitely on course to win the rookies. What do they call it again? Jack Sears Trophy. I think that's just got him. He's leading that by a country mile. I don't think there's anyone that's going to catch up with him. No. I think the guy that's next in points is, I think it's Derek Palmer actually.
Right. And again, we haven't spoken about this. It's been very quiet there. They were making a lot of waves with driver changes and lineups and people driving and not driving and everything that was going on and Infiniti pulling out. You would have thought that normally when a team's like that, ITV end up interviewing them a lot and they come out and they sort of like put their rumour mill to bed, if you get what I mean. Yeah. And this time around, they don't seem to have done that, and I think they could have handled that side of things for the fans a lot better, because there's a lot of people who give that team support, and it's a shame that they haven't communicated a bit better with the fans, I think.
No, but yeah. Anyways,
I really love the fact that they, everything that team stands for. I think is a really fabulous idea, and it'd be great to do that. I think the only thing that could be surpassed by for me, which we're desperate for, and I keep saying until Alan Gow listens, is we need an all-female team in British touring cars. There's no two ways about it. There's a lot of talented female karters and junior Formula drivers out there. We need a British touring car team that's all-female. Because that means my wife would actually go to every round, not just several.
and she could cheer the driver on. Yeah,
go,
you know, yeah.
you know what I mean? I mean, like, no, she's definitely up for, you know, female racing in that. And the British Women's, you know, Racing Drivers Club, you know, you think they'd make more of a noise about it's a Premier Series, and there aren't. You know, there just aren't any female drivers, and it's just, you know, it's such a shame when we've got such a good level of them, even on the top of package, you know.
Yeah, we got like, well, we keep talking about like Louise Richardson.
Yeah.
And you know, you've got Chadwick, what's her name? Jamie Chadwick. Yeah. She's in the British GT.
Yeah.
No. No. Jamie's in the Ginetta Juniors, is she? No.
It makes no difference. Get both of them, get a British touring car, and let's go. Let's see what they can do. Because I'll tell you something now, right? They will. The both of them two you've just mentioned there could cause a lot of problems for the middle pack to the front of the grid straight away. They both need one season to just get everything in line, right? But I tell you something now. There's a marketing opportunity there that the MSA and British touring cars are missing.
It could also boost as well women's motorsport if they have a drive in the BTCC. It could bring in more women drivers into it. Possibly have a women's championship.
Don't need a women's championship and a male championship, mate. We just need. I'm telling you now, if it's anything like the karting world, right? The ladies are just as good a drivers as the men. There's no two ways about it. And they're just as ruthless, and they just make the same amount of, you know, decisions as quickly as a front-running BTCC driver. And it's just a shame that they're not making a front-running team out of it. There's a massive opportunity there. It just really is. So go on, mate. Sorry, I'm on my soapbox. I'm getting it off with Plato.
Right, so on to the final race then. Jason Plato took a massive win and gained a lot in shedding in the points, which is now down to 10 points. How vital do you think that win was to Plato?
That was, I should imagine, the sort of big breath he let out at that point was quite heavy, because that was a get out of jail card. Because if Shedden had won all three, everybody's expecting the Hondas to be weak at Silverstone and it to be a romp away for BMR. I think they're going to turn the wick up on that Civic. I think you're going to see a completely different Civic at Silverstone.
Yeah. And also as well, we touched upon it, you know, Tom Ingram, first podium, he was, you know, highly emotional, clearly.
Yeah.
You know, he was almost there getting that first win, but, you know, second place, you know, what a drive. And it showed that he's like with Moffat, he's got signs that he can be a future BTCC star.
I'm telling you now, if Warren Scott ever hangs up his helmet, right, and I hope he doesn't, right, but if he did, I could see Plato pushing for him to be in the car ahead of Alan Menu.
Bit of a bold call, that, but I mean, will that Speedworks team afford to let him go? Will afford to let Tom Ingram go?
If the sponsors are going to turn around, and BMR are going to turn around and pay him more money, how can they possibly keep hold of him? You know, and I'm not being funny. You know, it's a family. You know, it's a family team and everything else. And it's seems to be a real nice, pleasant setup for him, and he seems to be at home there. But you know, it could be the time that they let him go, wish him all the best, and put him in a development drive. You know, put somebody the KX Academy, putting somebody else in that team. So Ant Wharton Eels, for example, from he was in the KX Academy before. You know.
The team was run by Christian Dick, who's a former Ginetta Cup driver, wasn't he?
Yeah. He's really in the Ginetta fold. Yeah. I don't know. It's just something I was thinking about earlier on. Thinking, you know, actually, Tom Ingram for an actual call up to a major team is a really good call. Really, really good call.
But if you say if that team's a family-based team, would they eliminate a car from the championship because they don't want to race with another driver with
No.
with their son driving in another team. I
No,
mean, we did see that years ago with the Neils.
Yeah, I think what would happen is with that team, I think they're too far ingrained in British touring cars. What they'd actually do is run it for a season. So if the season didn't go well for him in a works drive, he could just go straight back. And just go same old, same old. That's it. You go into this top running team, find out everything they do, and if it goes wrong, come back with all that knowledge so we can make our car quicker.
But would they have to get rid of the driver that's already driving in that team and put Tom in?
Or would they just stick another car out?
Well, they did stick out 2 cars for the Snetterton testing.
Yeah, but
which they had Ingram and Simon Belcher there testing.
Yeah, I mean, I just honestly believe now there's going to be, although everybody looks really settled on the grid, it's when it's like that, I think there's going to be 2 or 3 significant driver changes you just don't see coming. You know? And I mean, when if Rob Austin Racing picks a really interesting package that comes in and smashes it completely, you know, I can see a lot of people trying to get out, unless you're in one of the, BMR or Honda. I can see a lot of people trying to get Motorbase to put a 3rd and 4th car in, especially if it's as strong as Matt Jackson was in that.
Well, oh no, did they know? I'm trying to think if the Motorbase team actually did have 3 cars. That was when they had Matt Jackson and they didn't.
They had Aaron Smith in for a while, didn't they?
I'm thinking of Griffin as well.
Yeah, Liam Griffin, yeah. But we're getting up with the British touring cars, like I was saying the other day. There's the MSA Blue Book. You can download it from the MSA. And in there, it's got a list of the circuits, and it's also got a list of the capacity of the grids. And I think we're getting close. I think Silverstone can handle 38 cars. So we could expand. We could expand. You could see a lot of 3-car teams going forward, but it's whether the sponsorship's going to come in.
Yeah, that's the hard thing, getting sponsors. Yeah.
So anything else from that race?
Yeah. One manufacturer we haven't talked about is BMW, the racing boys. Effectively Rockingham, it was their weakest track. The car isn't fast enough on a straightaway. I don't know, it just surprises me how Turkington managed to win 2 races there when the car wasn't that fast. But Tordorf, you could say, is out of contention to win the championship. Collard just had a weekend to forget. And what did you think about Nick Foster in his return back into it?
I honestly think Nick is a nice guy. He really is a lovely guy. And it's a shame he's not in the British Touring Car Championship permanently anymore. I think from a fan's perspective, he was just a really nice guy to go spend time with in the paddock and just, meet and do whatever. He handled that side of handling the fans really well. And it's a shame that he didn't go stronger in the British Touring Cars when he was there.
What's the difference? Because he did manage to get into the points. I think he finished 13th or 14th in the final race. But what separates him to Andy Priaulx?
You can't really answer that without actually making it look like you're belittling the drivers. Okay.
Oh.
I'm just going in there before we have a world of hurt with feedback on this episode, right? These are my own personal thoughts on it. At the end of the day, Andy Priaulx has got a company called iZone, which he runs, which hosts one of the world's, not the UK's, but the world's best simulator technologies that's been developed from him being a world touring car champion multiple times.
3 times.
That's a difference. There's something about Andy that allowed him to win them championships. And honestly, I don't think it's down to the car. And I don't think it's down to the fact that he's actually got a simulator that he could sit in all day if he wanted, 7 days a week.
So are you thinking about, is it going back to driver aggression again?
No. I think it's his mental attitude. He is one of the best mental coaches in the game. There's 3 or 4. There's Rob Wilson, which is a driver coach. There's, I'm sure his name's Don McPherson, and he's actually Andy Jordan's mental coach, right? And there's Andy Prieur, and those 3 for touring cars are pretty there. The only one I know who holds a candle to them, and perhaps to be perfectly honest with you, there's only really Andy Prieur and David Brabham, who are all-round driver coaches. You know, like if you wanted to start racing and you were an 18-year-old guy and you got loads of sponsorship, if you had Andy Prieur in your corner or David Brabham actually coaching you on the mental side of the game, you'd come out very strong. Very, very, very strong. The person who's got all his MSA coaching badges now, and I feel will make more of a name for himself behind the scenes than actually as a driver, is Tom Onslow Cole. I think Tom Onslow Cole as a coach is world class. Yeah, there's no 2 ways about it.
You can hear a lot about with Tom Onslow Cole now. What's he been doing these days?
Well, he's been doing. I'm sure he was Aidan Moffat's driver's coach, isn't he? He was he was at a meeting a couple of. He's actually an advisor to him. I'm sure it's Aidan is an advisor to.
Oh right, I didn't even know that at all.
He's doing GT racing. He's racing Mercedes and GT International GT Cups. 24-hour.
I was thinking of British GT, but he's not in that.
No. It's the race that's just happened was the 24-hour of Barcelona, and he led the bulk of that. And he got into the car like, you know, 3 laps down and like in 4th place, and within like 20 laps was back in 1st place again. The guy's a machine. There's no 2 ways about it. And something about this MSA Superstars, the program that they put them into, that they're all coming through. You start seeing these BRDC Superstars and whatever, you know. It was one of the original ones for that. And I think as a driver coach, he's going to make far more money than he will do as a driver, and that's saying something for Tom Onslow Cole.
That was just like me last night racing in the NASCAR online league race. I made a mistake. I was 2 laps down, and then within about 50 laps, I was in the lead.
Hey, get it? Yeah, no, Nick Foster. You know, I'd love to see him back. It'd be a good shout for somebody like, you know, one of the Mercedes, or you know, the second Infinity. He'd be a really good shout. He's a really popular driver.
Oh, well, so that's everything to talk about on my ideas list, other than we had a lot of penalties, actually. And, forgot. Yeah, there was 9 penalties. And, Jason Plato was in the naughty books after his race 2 contact. And believe it or not, that was his first warning.
Ever?
This season. This season.
I was just going to say, I've got a feeling he's been in that bad book for a little bit of time before then.
No, that's his first time this season.
This is what I'm saying this year. And it's been first of all, I want to say it's been a very exciting season. Right?
Yes.
However, there is a part of me that says it's gone a bit. There's been no story this year. There's been no, oh, that person's got more boost than me. There's been no
rivalry, isn't there?
Yeah, he's tried to tip me off at the last corner. There's been none of that this time round. Everybody's been really clean. It doesn't shock me that I think Plato's looked at it and gone, you know what, actually, this season with the team how they are, I've got to bring this championship home, bring it home for the sponsors and not put a scratch on the car.
Yeah, he was already thinking of the big picture already. Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah.
But when it comes to Silverstone and Brands, I think you would expect to see some bent door, wing mirrors flying off, bent.
Race 2 at Brands Hatch, do not even go out of your living room to put a kettle on. It will be carnage. Absolute carnage.
Are you hoping for a wet race?
It doesn't matter, wet, dry, snowing, whatever. Just bring on race 2 at Brands, because it's going to be carnage. I am going to be sat in my armchair with a beer and a massive packet of crisps because I ain't moving anywhere for 20 minutes, man. Not at all.
Your bottom will be firmly cemented on your seat.
Only to be surpassed by the sheer amount of screens I'm going to be having around me. Because I want a second TV on standby should one break.
Definitely, man. So then, right, what's on your plate? So then, you heard my one. In fact, I could have another one, actually. Can I have another one?
Yeah, of course you can, mate. Why
right,
not?
go ahead, and you say yours first before we can end it.
My get it off your Plato for this particular episode is the lack of focus on some of those teams running at the back of the grid. Last year, they did features on each and every team going through, wherever the results were. They were focusing on all the drivers, you know. And this time round, they don't seem to have done that as much with some of the teams. You know, they seem to have just sort of left people to their own devices. Yeah. And it would be nice to see, you know, a day in the life of the drivers. And they only really seem to do those features with the top people at the end of the season. They'll get the top three. They get the top, you know, like the last episode, the top 4 drivers all had a say about what they were going to do and where they are in the championship and how they thought the championship would go.
Yeah.
You know? And I'm not saying they can't do that with the back of the grid. I'd just like to see, you know, Dan Welsh being actually interviewed and saying, right, actually, this is what we're doing to the car, and this is, you know, what, you know, a chance for those guys to actually get their sponsors on the television and for the fans of that team to actually see their cars without actually having to, you know, if you live next to Brands Hatch and you can't physically get to the Knock Hill round and you're a big fan of the Proton, when have you seen it?
Yeah.
Whereas other seasons you would, you know, there'd be something going on, but there just doesn't seem to be the same level of thing as well. Also, just as another thing is, I want to get it off my Plato that sometimes people do answer. We had a very interesting message back this week. I put off get it off your Plato on the fan page, demanding where Paul O'Neill was for the Ginetta Juniors race, because there's only one thing more hectic than a Ginetta Juniors race, and that's a hectic Scouser commentating on a Ginetta. And I love Paul O'Neill's commentary. I think the guy's an absolute genius. And
he's the commentator that makes you go on the edge of your seat.
Yes, right. 5 bends before anything's happened, right? He can spot that there's going to be, oh, wait until the end of this straight here, 3 laps from now, it's going to be carnage, and he's always right. Anyway, I put on a message like, well, has he said something to offend somebody on air? And, you know, he's been pulled for a couple of races. And bless his cotton socks, Paul O'Neill personally wrote back to us and said, no, it just clashes with the live part of the broadcast. They've moved the schedules round to where the Ginetta Juniors race, and he's trying to work with Alan Gow to actually make it so he can go back on because he misses doing it. And it's just blown my head that Paul O'Neill has sat through one of our broadcasts. It's just messes with my sweet, because I'm normally sitting on the telly watching him.
If Paul's watching this one, Paul, why do you keep reading Charlie Digweed's tweets? He is bragging on Instagram. I've had 8 out of 8 treats. I am going for the full 10, and I'm thinking, Paul, don't.
Because I've got £10 riding on. I bet you can't.
I've got my house on this.
Yeah. So you'll go top of plate.
Also, when you were saying about the get it off your plate, what you were saying about Paul O'Neill, to be fair though, he did have a word with Kieran Gallagher in the final race.
Yeah,
And also before saying you there, what you said was right about we don't see a lot of the back end, because the only time we only see the cars battling at the back of the field is when they're off the track, which to me, you know, it's a bit disrespectful, I would say.
Yeah, it's like, you know, don't sponsor these teams because they're always crashing. That's a message given out. Yeah.
Yeah.
You'll get it off the Plato then, mate, because I'm conscious of time.
Oh yeah, I'm looking at the time right now. it was what Jason Plato said in his interview when he won that third race, and he dedicated it to Justin Wilson.
So you'll get off your Plato as Jason Plato?
No. It was just the fact that the whole race meeting didn't say anything a lot about Justin Wilson.
I feel that, especially if it had been around at an MSV circuit, bearing in mind that Justin Wilson's manager was Jonathan Palmer when he was in F1, I think a lot more would have been made of that. Justin Wilson, I mean, we haven't said anything about it on this broadcast, but I remember years ago watching him in Formula Palmer Audi and being nothing but impressed, not only with his driving, but the way he conducted himself off the track.
Yeah.
You see all these things all over the place. And I don't mean to say, I think the paddock as a whole sort of knew that the cameras were going into the cars and they'd all got the stickers on the helmet and it was all great. But I think the MSA could have made a bit more of an announcement, or the drivers could have had a minute.
Yeah.
The drivers could have had a minute's silence for him before the race is on the grid. I think that would have been really respectful.
Yeah.
As a mark of respect from the British MSA to the family.
Yeah. Like if you had the whole drivers there, like the touring car drivers, the MSA drivers, the Ginetta drivers, Ginetta Juniors, Clio Cup, everyone.
Yeah.
Just maybe stand there on the start-finish line, have a minute silence every now and then.
And literally, while they do that as well, minute silence from the fans, drone camera sent up, because I know one of the guys who films for British touring cars, and they've got a drone camera up, and so they could just actually have that minute from like 50 feet in the air, so you could see the entire pit lane with them all lined up with all the helmets down and everything else, and just 1 minute. And then after that,
I wouldn't think the guy that's going to control the drone would do that. I think he'll do exactly the same thing.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is so it could have the biggest impact, because it's not about everybody dedicating the race wins and all this bit. It was about making a statement that although it was a different form of motorsport,
they're still a big family.
And also, every driver who puts a helmet on takes the same risk. Mm-hmm. Every fan who's at the side of the track takes the same risk.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'm not being funny, you know, you've only got to go back a few seasons ago. You know, Hunter Abbott knows more than anybody about cars leaving the track and catching fire.
At Oldham Park, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, and that then, you know, it's there's no safe racetrack. It just goes with the territory. It's what it says on the ticket. Motorsport is dangerous. Mm-hmm. I just think, yeah, I fully agree with what you did, what you said, and what Plato did. But you know, yeah, I agree with you with that. It was a shame that only Plato mentioned it. But I think you know, the drivers, some of the BTCC paddock are quite fair, as in regards as if they actually didn't know the guy, they most probably didn't feel the need to say anything because they think it would sound false and a false tribute, if you get what I'm saying. Which is why I think
they would have seen it all over the papers. Yeah,
I know, but what I'm saying is Plato going through and all the most probably, you know, Plato and Matt Neal most probably raced against him in junior formulas and karting and stuff, is what I'm saying. Whereas, you know, somebody like Aidan Moffat wasn't, you know, born when he was racing. You know what I mean? It's just when he started racing, you know. So I personally feel the MSA should have taken the opportunity with the amount of audience that ITV4 have got to put a respectful montage of things together, have a minute's silence, and then put the donation link across the bottom of the screen for all three races to the actual charitable donation that provides for Justin Wilson's foundation. I think that would have been a better mark of respect than that. But yeah, that's off to Jason Plato, top move.
Yeah. That's pretty much it for me.
Yeah, pretty much it for me as well. So we've run over slightly again. next round, Silverstone. Just a quick quick burst of what you're looking forward to at Silverstone.
Crashes? No. This is. I mean, I think this is going to define who are going to be the championship contenders heading into the Brands Hatch track. Whoever's going to come out as the points leader, I don't know. You know, it could all just take one car retirement for one of them championship contenders, and that's them, you know, maybe losing the points lead, could be eliminated from the championship.
If Shedden runs and hides in them first 2 races, right? If he runs and hides in them first 2 races, I think it's his championship then to lose. I think.
But what if Plato finishes second in both of them? He's still a little bit behind him.
Psychological advantage. I mean, you know, I think. How can I put it? If let's put it this way. Let's put it into perspective, right? If Plato's in front and Shedden's behind, I personally believe that Shedden's got nothing to lose and he'll fight like a warrior, but his head won't be in it. I think he'd prefer to be 10 points clear and have to defend by. I think that fires Shedden up more being in front. I think it affects him. It affects him emotionally if he's in second going into the last round. I think Plato prefers to be in second and being the underdog.
If Plato was ahead of Shedden, do you think Shedden will think to himself, right, I'll just stay back. I'll know I'll still have the championship lead going into the next round. Will he actually just go for the win? Because I honestly believe if he is like second, I think he'll be happy. He'll be content to stay in second.
I just think you've got BMR, independent team, fantastic engineers. You've got the might of Honda on the other side. Now, however much money BMR have got, Honda right now are sending bits from everywhere around the world to win that British Touring Car Championship because they want to sell Hondas on the Monday afterwards. That car is now on a rolling road. I bet you, as we're talking right now, even at 10:30 at night, I am telling you now, that car is being caned into the floor, or parts of that car that were sitting on a CAD CAM, you know, system in some sort of Japanese factory 4 or 5 days ago are being air freighted to that car as we speak. There's going to be a shed load of upgrades for that car that's going to make it go like a dart round Silverstone. And when it comes to brands, the car, apart from the badge, will most probably be completely rebuilt again, specifically for brands. There'll be people in Team Dynamics' paddock this time round, the next 2 rounds, that you'll have never seen at any other races all year. And I bet you Honda have put them on a plane. Because they've got the might, they've got a might behind them of manufacturer that BMR simply do not have. It'll be interesting to see whether it's the start of a new Super Touring era. Because, you know, if Plato does win with BMR, you know, it's got to be a good shout for Volkswagen to come in and make them their team of choice. They're increasing their motorsport presence. Massive team in the WRC. You know, an offshoot of their company, Audi, doing really well in the World Endurance Championships and stuff.
Yeah, I was just thinking what WRC stand for, but I now know it now.
Yeah. I mean, like, you know, there's when you think about it,
the Volkswagen's got their own racing series. The what's it now? VAG Cup series.
Yeah, there's loads of different ones. But what I'm saying to you is, you know, at the end of the day, the power plant's virtually identical. So they could take bits from that World Rally car that are perhaps fragile in a touring car, wishbones and suspension and things like that, and start adding it to, you know, it could be a good shout. You know, it could be that we start seeing some of these manufacturers coming back. I mean, like the Rob Austin. Do you think Rob Austin will be a Lexus that's independent? Because I can see Lexus actually coming back and just employing Rob Austin as a driver.
Maybe. Didn't someone say anything about Subaru?
Don't know. Kia. I've heard lots of rumours about Kia. Lots of rumours about Kia.
Yeah. Oh, well. Should we better end it then? Because that's coming up for pretty much 10:30, yeah.
Yeah, we'll go on because I've got an early start yet again in the morning. The joys of everybody going back to university, mates. That time. Okay, guys. Well, thanks a lot. It's been an interesting around the bend. The championship is really hotting up now as we're getting into it. Silverstone's going to be exciting. Anybody's championship. Plato fans and, you know, Shedden fans, please play fair on the forums and everything else over the next couple of weeks. There will be contact between them two cars, I'm sure. Alan Gow's going to have his ends in his hands for at least 6 of the 6 races that are coming.
Probably have his hair coming out as well.
Yeah, just doing that. We're looking really forward to the next round. We will do a Silverstone preview. Perhaps, if not, we'll definitely do a roundup from there. We'll do a post race thing after Silverstone as well, and get prepared for Brands. And of course, Brands, I think we should do an extended show with a season highlights and some stats and some happy memories from. And let's see if we can get our guest on.
Yes,
I am working on that now. I've also it also may run into 2 guests. I'm just 3. If Max Coates decides to come back and join as well.
Oh, right. Okay. I was going to say, you're just picking numbers out, like, 2, 3. No, maybe 7.
No. There's a high chance at the moment. I could keep it a secret, or I can try and let the cat out the bag. It might not be. No,
keep it a secret. Keep it a secret.
Okay. we may have a old touring car driver, and he doesn't like the word old, so I'm going to rephrase that. And an ex-touring car driver making an appearance, and hopefully alongside him a current grid superstar, a future superstar of British touring cars, who is actually, you know, creating waves, shall we say, right now. I've put messages into both management teams and sponsors and everything else. And to be fair, both of them have come back and said, you know, calendars permitting, yes, they'll have a check of the diary and see what they can do for us. So we are trying to get as many guests as we can. As always, keep it on the, you know, British Touring Car Fan Group Forum. We're looking forward to see you for the next few races. Anything else you want to add, Sean?
No, I just wanted to show you my minion.
Nice.
Even though it's got nothing to do with btcc, I didn't expect you to call because I just wanted to pan up to just say bye with me just sounding up as a minion. Well, that's gone out the window.
That minion's an animal.
Minion. That's it. Let's go.
Yeah, that minion's an animal. All right, until Around the Bend next time, enjoy the rest of the races, and we'll see you real soon on Around the Bend. See you later. Bye, Sean.
Bye-bye.